What's up, everybody? Welcome to Shooting Secrets with Sandman. I'm your host, Matt Sanders. So excited you're here today. I am excited for episode number 2. And today we're outside, where a lot of us spend our summers and off season playing basketball. And to be honest, I kind of wanted to have this in a place where it's not manufactured lighting, it's not manufactured sound, that this will be a really authentic space. So my goal is, unless it's the weather's really bad, we're gonna always shoot from an outdoor court. So we're super grateful for the people of this town to let us use this outdoor court. So today, in episode 1, we are going to talk about the grip of the basketball with both hands. How are we gonna hold it? What is the standard way to do it? And then some other ways that will make it more comfortable for you. So I got my shooter Eric with me today. Super glad he's here. So without further ado, let's get it rolling. So this morning as we get started, thankful for the sunshine, Eric has already got his hand underneath the ball. And so the goal here is to talk about what it means to actually grip the ball and have the ball be comfortably in your hand. So Eric's got his hand under it right now. So Eric, if you turn it over and grab it with your other hand. So most people would tell you that having the ball having your hand in the center of the ball is really important. Well, you can't have it in the center of the ball every time you catch it, right? You just can't. However, if you're gonna shoot a free throw or you're gonna catch and shoot, a lot of people will turn the ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Whatever is the most comfortable for you. However, in practicing from the very beginning of shooting, the first standard is making sure that your hand is in the center of the ball, and most importantly, that the ball is not sitting in your palm. So now, Eric, if you'll lift the ball up here, and Z, if you'll bring the camera around to this side, if you see right here, there is some space there. We call that the peek hole, something that like you have in your door, like a hole you can peek through to see out. That's the space that we want to have. And we want to have that because it gives him perfect grip on his fingertip. Pistol Pete used to say the best way to handle the ball is fingertip control. And so we believe the same thing in shooting. At Shot Doctor, we have the Successful 6, and this is the first one of those in the grip. And in the grip, we want you to be able to hold the ball comfortably, so as you go to release it, it doesn't move. Okay, Eric, if you bring the ball back down, thank you for doing that. So Z, if you can bring the camera back over here, I want to talk about these fingers. So drop the ball a little bit. So these 3 fingers, the thumb, the first finger, and the middle finger, are actually the ones that control the basketball. These 2 fingers, your pinky and your ring finger, they're actually balancers when you're holding it as you shoot it with one hand. These 3 fingers on this ball where Eric has it right now, they actually control the direction of the ball. And when we get to follow through, we'll talk really in depth about how important it is for that part of your hand to always do the same thing every time. But for today, we want to talk about the first finger, the middle finger, and the thumb. Those 3 fingers, as he lifts the ball, now you can lift it back up there, those 3 fingers are where you should have and feel the most pressure. Okay, so Eric, you can drop your balance hand down. And so as you can see from underneath this side of the ball, he is gripping the ball with his fingertips. Okay, Eric, let's take the ball off, and I want you to turn your hand and point it to the camera. Spread your fingers out like you're shooting it. So we consider this area here and not in his palm, we call that the finger pads, just like I said a little earlier. So we want him to have the ball there. So look how easily that just sits in his hand. That's exactly what we're looking for. So now we've got from the fingertips and the grip. So now let's talk about the balance hand. So Eric, you can put your balance hand up there. Now this is a point of contention for a lot of people because most people want to have a direct standard to, well, this is where you should be. Well, Eric's hand, the way he's holding it, his left thumb, see if you could come here, his left thumb actually is past his right hand on his right thumb on his right hand shooting hand. Well, actually, that doesn't really matter. if we're being honest, it's really about where is comfortable for you, right? As a shooter and as a coach, like you don't want to put somebody and stranglehold them into a place where you have to do it this way, because everybody does it differently. When I first started working with Eric, he really couldn't get his elbow in the right spot and his wrist in the right spot because he broke his wrist at some point. Again, you have to make adjustments, but in this case, Eric's hand, I would not hold the ball there. Other shooters don't hold the ball there, but that's comfortable for him. So the point is, we want the hand on the side of the ball. Okay, so Z, if you can come back around here, and now we can see from the front that his hand is on the side of the ball. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly there. His hand could be a little bit around towards the front. It could even be a little bit over there. So it really is about what is comfortable for you as the shooter, and coach, whatever is comfortable for your players. The most important part is that it is on the side of the ball, that it's not on the top. Put it on the top, Eric. And it's not in the dead front. Because on the top is less control. In the front, you're basically blocking your own shot, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But in this case, where Eric, you can put it back where it's comfortable. Eric's comfortable spot is on the side, and his thumb is almost touching his left palm. Totally okay. This is really, really important. Okay, so how did we get here? All right, Eric, you can put the ball down. So we have a passer under the rim. You can throw the ball back to her. And what we want to talk about now is what happens when we catch the ball. How do we get to that grip position? Okay, so if you'll just throw him a bounce pass, hands ready to catch it, throw him a bounce pass right there. Okay, stop. So as he caught that ball, immediately, you're going to see this on the video, so cool. He immediately took the ball and spun it to get the ball where it's comfortable for him. That's wonderful. So as the ball bounced, his hands were prepared for it, okay? All right, throw the ball back one more time. Now let's throw him a chest pass, hands ready to catch, and just watch what he does when he catches it. Perfect. Okay, so again, he caught it, and his right hand was kind of on the side, and his left hand was kind of on the side. And immediately, he spun it and put his hand behind the ball. There's a lot of people that say your hand doesn't have to be behind the ball, your hand should be under the ball. But all I'm saying is that whatever the most comfortable position, that your hand is behind it as you go to lift it, get it there, right? It's really important for that to be comfortable. All right, last one here. This time I want you to catch it like you'd be catching a pass on a fast break with your hands just out to the side. Throw him a chest pass. Awesome, hold it right there. So this is the spot. So this happens to us full speed in action. How do I get from this position to my grip? Well, I believe, and this is the Sandman Shot Doctor way, I actually believe your hand, your shooting hand should always be your guide when you're catching a pass. If you're catching it on the side in full speed, you're going to have to go ahead and rotate it to get ready to shoot. You're going to have to turn. So he actually released the ball and turned his hand behind it, which, being his former coach, I know he does that full speed. And what does that do? It slows your shot down. We'll get to that later about the shot speed and all that. But for today, the most important part is how to catch it. So last pass, I know I said that was the last one. We'll do one more because that's what we coaches do. So I want you to catch it with your shooting hand. Go ahead and make that pass. Perfect, right there. And his right hand, his shooting hand was ready all the time. And I believe as a shooter that your shooting hand should always be ready, okay? All right, so lastly, Z, if you'll come up onto the rim, Eric's gonna shoot one. And what I want you to do is I want you to be very focused on his left hand and his right hand as he releases it, and then let's really focus on what happens to his 3 shooting fingers at the end. Go ahead, Eric, let it go. Awesome, great shot. Okay, so one more time, and then Eric, I want you to hold the follow through this time. Go ahead, pass, catch, hold the follow through, great shot, leave it there. Okay, so both of those balls went in as you saw. These 3 fingers control that ball. Well, his follow through is kind of away from the basket. We'll talk about that later. But here's the kicker. What about this hand? What about the balance hand? What do we want it to do? Well, we want that ball, if we can have the ball back, we want that ball and bring it back down. We want that ball to actually, as he's releasing it, to slide up. Now, this hand can go up and forward with it. This hand can stay back here. There's some people that are open. I don't believe you should thumb it with your balance hand because it makes you long and short. And really, to be honest, let's take a brain break here. Eric, take a break. If I'm right-handed shooter and I go to release it with my left thumb and my right hand at the same time, I'm actually activating both sides of my brain. And for most right-handed people, that's tough. So it makes you long and short. I'm not saying you won't make them, but most importantly, when you're shooting, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? You want to be incredibly consistent. Everybody wants playing time. What coaches want? They want consistent shooters. Steph Curry, all of those guys, they're incredibly consistent. They do it the same way every time. So whatever this looks like for you, I'm saying that the ball should slide up your balance hand. If it follows it, fine. But I'm saying that if your left thumb is flicking behind it, you're going to be inconsistent unless you have thousands of hours to practice it. And there are pros out there who've done it. So I'm not going to stand here and say, there's only one way to do it, because there's really not. But in this way, if I'm teaching a young player or I'm coaching a young player, I'm going to tell them that it's best that your balance hand, whether you're left-handed and your right thumb is doing it, or your right hand and your left thumb is doing it, you should make sure that that left hand or that left thumb is back, or that right thumb is back and away. It doesn't mean it can't follow the ball going to the basket, but we don't want to flick it. And I want to say this too. I think it's really important that we all understand that when we're shooting the ball with both hands at the same time, that the goal is to do the same thing every single time. And that takes hundreds and thousands of hours. I know Eric would attest to a year and a half ago when he changed his shot from being a lot of that left thumb and lots of other things that we haven't got to yet, that it takes hundreds of thousands of shots, just being honest, and that's hours. So you want to be a more consistent shooter. You want to be a great shooter. It takes real time and practice dedicated outside of your normal high school practice. I know every coach out there is going to be laughing with me here, because it's really the only way to get it done. If you want to be consistent, you want to get on the court, the coach wants you on the court, the only way to do that is to put in the time and the effort. So I want to say thanks to Eric today for being my shooter today. Really appreciate you coming in, and Eric changed his shot and has become a really great shooter. Lastly, I want to say subscribe, please. Share this with everybody that you know. Click it, please. Excited for what is coming forward. And again, I just want to say thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who gave me this vision to continue all that I've learned over the last 27 years on the shot. Can't wait to see you in the next episode of Shooting Secrets with Sandman.